A few years ago, if you wanted to start collecting mechanical watches, $500 was enough budget to get your foot in the door. But with the weakening dollar and the tariffs, $500 is not going to get you a whole lot of options out there anymore. Even good old standbys that are recommended, like the Hamilton Field Khaki, are over $500 now. But there are still some great options out there. So let's get into it. First, two rules I laid down for myself. No homage watches, number one. Those are copycats of other watches, just with a different name stamped on them. I don't find them interesting. If you like them, go for it. But we're going to stay away from those. Two, no Chinese seagull movements. Nothing wrong with Chinese watches. In fact, there's some great stuff coming out of that country, but seagull movements just aren't there yet. Seagull movements do not have the reliability from what I've heard and what I've personally experienced for me to recommend them yet. So what we're going to see here is pretty much Japanese movements. The Swiss movements are too expensive now, but the Japanese movements from Citizen and Seiko are still great and reliable movements. So almost all of these watches are going to contain those in them. First up, we have the king of entry-level watches since 1854, and that's Timex, the lone American watch company that's still around since the 1800s. Timex makes some great watches, and they may be known for the entry-level quartz watches, but the Timex Marlin has been a tentpole of their design since 1954 when it came out. If you've seen those old commercials of it takes a licking and keeps on ticking, the Timex commercials that made famous in the 60s, that's a Timex Marlin they're using. And the later redesign brought the old 34mm sizing up to a 40mm sizing that we're used to today. You have a couple of different dial color choices, Citizen Miyota powered movement inside. It's a nice looking watch. For $289, gets you a reliable mechanical watch as a hard thing to pass off. It's perfect for if you're starting your mechanical watch journey. It's perfect if you have a little extra money and you just like collecting watches, or if you want to gift a watch to someone in your family to get them started to be interested in mechanical watches. This is one of the best places to start. And again, it's the only American watch company that survived the quartz crisis. It's been around since 1854. Next up is the one often recommended watch as a first mechanical watch that has kept its price point under $500, and that's the Orient Bambino. It's, again, a classic three-hand watch. It's a watch that looks good every day, maybe in a more dressed-up situation. And between $295 and $330, you have an option of what Bambino you like. The Bambino comes in 6 different variations in that price range, so you have your choice of style that you would like. And it actually has their own in-house caliber F6724 Orient movement. Now, Orient is a subsidiary of Epson, just like Seiko is, so they're kind of sister companies, but this is the movement that Orient made for themselves. And with an in-house movement and still $300-ish, that's kind of amazing. Now, it's not the most accurate at plus 25, minus 15 seconds a day, but that's actually better than the Miyotas on this list, so that's not too bad either. Honestly, this is a good looking watch. It's easy to see why the Orient Bambino is long been a recommended first watch to look at. Number 3 on our list is our first micro brand, Nodus, the Nodus Sector 2 field watch, bringing some titanium to the party. So first off, again, under $500 is a hard thing to do, but do it in titanium, give Nodus some credit. These guys have been around the watch world, setting up watch shows like Intersect to bring micro brands together. They're really a champion of these small watch brands, bringing them to people to show what these new independent makers can do. And Nodus not only makes some great looking watches, but they do so at fantastic price points. This one is powered by the Seiko NH38, and Nodus makes sure to regulate the watch to get it within plus or minus 10 seconds a day, which makes it one of the most accurate watches on this list. It's tied for the most accurate watch on this list. That's just insane. They are outdoing Seiko and Orient and Citizen or Timex. So notice this little micro brand is giving you a $500 field watch that is the most accurate on this list and in titanium. If this one doesn't do it for you, they do have a few other watches around $500 and even Swiss powered watches that are going to creep up in price because the Swiss movements just cost more. Overall, Nodus is really showing what microbrands can do, which is bring original design at an affordable price point for everyone to get their foot in the door and collect mechanical watches. In fact, if you want, you can stay in the microbrand area your entire collecting path because there's so many great options at a reasonable price. And Nodus, again, is pretty much one of the leaders in that space. Next up, it's Seiko. Now, Seikos can produce watches anywhere from $300 to tens of thousands of dollars, but the entry point has always been the Seiko 5 since 1963. Seiko 5 stands for the 5 things that must happen within a Seiko 5 watch. These are: they must be automatic, have a day-date display, water resistant, a recessed crown at 4 o'clock, and a durable case and bracelet. I will say the crown position is the one thing that the Seiko 5 does not keep universal, because it did limit the design language. Now, if you want a classic Seiko 5, that 4 o'clock crown position, they still exist. Rowing Blazers puts out some great ones every year, and there's lots of options. But for me, since the Hamilton Field Khaki is that classic one that you can't get anymore, let's put a field watch on the list. This is the Seiko 5 SRPG 35, a 39.4 millimeter field watch. Inside, you'll find the caliber 4R36, which is a Seiko caliber. They're very robust, but again, not the most accurate. But for a $500 watch, being robust is what you're looking for more than accuracy. It just comes with the territory at this price point. This is a classic field watch design with 100 meters of water resistance. Means that if you like that military style watch, that's been a common entry point for many people into watches, this is your choice. Unfortunately, some of the classic choices have gone away, but fortunately, Seiko keeps true to what they're trying to do and create an entry-level watch in the Seiko 5 that can last decades. I still have Seiko 5s from the 70s that tick and work quite well with barely any service. So Seiko has earned the reputation with this watch line of being a good and robust watch. Now, one of the newest watches on this list is the Citizen Tsuyosa. It came out like a bolt of thunder last year, and so many different colors. Powered by a Miyota movement, of course, because Citizen owns Miyota. This integrated sport watch for $475, and honestly, you can often find it on sale. Comes in a multitude of colors, integrated bracelet, comfortable, looks good, 40 millimeters across. And if that's a little too big for you, that also has a 37 millimeter version. So it's kind of a pick your poison with all of these options. And to be honest, this is probably the watch I have seen most out in the wild. It's just really a good looking watch that you can wear every day. Is easy for people who have collected watches for a while to just grab and have, all right, I have a daily beater I don't have to worry about. I can take it on vacation and still look good and have some color and some style to it. Or you can gift it to somebody, because on sale price makes a really good gift for a son or daughter, a nephew, niece, anyone who's really you want to get interested into watches. This is a watch that really brought some style to the entry-level watch, and Citizen really hit out of the park with this one. All right, we do have one Swiss watch on this list, and that is the System 51 by Swatch. It is a mechanical watch, but it's also a plastic mechanical movement that's put together completely by a machine. And I wasn't going to put on the list, but then I really thought about it. I have a few. They cost $170, so they're the cheapest one on this list. And their accuracy is plus 15 minus 5, which makes them as accurate as the Nodus, tied for the most accurate watch on this list. It certainly has its pluses. Now, unfortunately, you can't change the movement in it, so it's kind of wear it for 5 to 10 years before it just seizes up, and call it a day. So it's purely a disposable watch. I'm not a big fan of that, but they have some great style to them. $170 gets you into it. If you want the Blancpain 50 fathoms version they have now, it's $420, and that's become popular and does look good, but unfortunately, again, it's a disposable movement. You can't fix it. It's all glued together. It's all put together by machines. And I will say, for that, it's surprising how accurate it is. It is a good way to get in the watches, and you won't find another Swiss mechanical watch for that price point. It's just not possible with Swiss labor cost. So if you do want a Swiss watch, you want it mechanical, you want it pretty accurate, and you don't want to spend as much, $170 gets you that. Now, staying in Europe, in Germany, there is actually a watch company making under $500 watches with some history to them, and that's LACO. LACO, if you're unfamiliar with them, they made the first German pilots watches alongside AWC, A. Lange & Söhne, Stowa, and Wempe. LACO is there making these first designed pilots watches, and they still make them with the Pilot Watch Basic, Achan, and Osberg coming in below the $500 range with Miyota movements inside of them. Now, if you love the style and you want to spend more, and you can, they also have these with Swiss movements in them. So it's kind of really interesting of LACO to be able to have people choose what works for them on the inside of the watch to fit their budget. Again, the Miyota movement inside is very reliable, but it is not the most accurate. And if you want to spend more, the Swiss movement's going to be more accurate. It's a Sellita inside those, and they're known for being some of the best you can get for the money when it comes to movements. Well, if you want to watch with some history, LACO's been around since 1925, and being in West Germany, they didn't have to deal with the consolidation of the watch industry under the USSR in East Germany. In fact, LACO just has continuously produced watches, though they've gone through some ownership changes like Timex owning them in the 60s and early 70s, but they're always based in Germany. They're back under German ownership, and they're making these German Flieger watches with some history behind them and at a very approachable budget. I've never known anyone who got one of these watches who weren't insanely happy with the quality for the price point. So I definitely can recommend them, and it's probably the best watch you're going to get for the price coming out of Germany. And you might have heard about most of the watches on this list, but I'm going to throw a curveball and hope that you haven't seen this one, which is Bernhardt watches out of North Carolina. This is a micro brand that was started by Frank Amos, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago, but the photographer and his family have kept the brand going, and they have some incredible watches at some very approachable price point. This is a company that makes watches for the love of watches. It's a micro brand run by watch enthusiasts for watch enthusiasts, and I can't say good enough things about somebody who's doing that kind of work. One of their watches I've been able to get hands-on with is the Binnacle timer, which unfortunately is sold out. But in their same case is their world timer called the Retro World. It's a $429 world timer that comes in burgundy, green, or white. And it has the same case as that Binnacle watch that I tried. And it's such a comfortable retro style case. It's like this big wide-sided classic C case with the Milanese bracelet on it that just adds to that retro 70s feel. But it looks really good on. It feels really comfortable. I loved having this watch and couldn't believe that it was an under $500 watch. Because normally you have a $500 watch on, you think, yeah, I see where the money went, where they saved the money. This, no, it's fantastic. It is an absolute fantastic watch for the price. I am surprised they're able to produce it for the price, in fact. Even with the Miyota movement inside, which saves some money, just the bracelet alone probably costs more than the movement. That's how good the Milanese bracelet is. Now, if this design language speaks to you, buy it. Trust me, you'll love the watch. You'll love the case. It's just going to be this comfortable oddball that's not going to look like anything else in your watch case. And it's going to be a world timer for the cost of a round-trip plane ticket. Couldn't ask for anything more. The next to last watch on our list is the newest. It actually came out this month, which is the Caraville by Bulova Sea Hunter. And if you're unfamiliar with the brand, Caraville was around the 60s and 70s as an entry point for the Bulova brand to compete with Timex for the low-price mechanical watch, exactly what we're talking about now. So as mechanical watches have come back and have more popularity than ever, they brought back the brand to bring out an affordable watch, and did it again with the Sea Hunter, which originally in the 60s was a great looking dive watch, and what they've brought back is nearly one-for-one replica of the original from the 1960s, except for now it's 39 millimeters across instead of mid-30s. People like bigger watches today, and this reflects it. But you have the aluminum bezel, the yellow lume to make it look like it's a vintage watch. And overall, the execution is perfect. It's hard not to recommend this as a watch to look at. Honestly, I think Bulova hit out of the park with this one. And it has one of those signature Bulova things, which instead of having 200 meters of water resistance or 600 feet, it rounds it up to 666 feet, just like the Devil Diver. Inside, you have a Miyota movement, the Miyota 8215 at $375. This is a hard one not to want for people who are seasoned watch collectors. This is a dive watch you could take diving and not really have to worry about it. If you like dive watches, you'll appreciate this watch, and you'll be surprised at the price point. If you switch movements to a Swiss movement inside this thing, I think you put a 1 in front of the number. It looks that good. Go Bulova. I'm glad this is out. This is probably the best price point watch to come out recently, and the fact that it's doing so when the dollar is sliding and we have the tariffs is frankly amazing. Last on our list, we're actually not going to talk about new watch, but vintage watches, because there's always a good deal to be found in vintage watches, especially with brands that aren't really around anymore, like Wittenauer or Waltham or some old American brand. But I think a lot of us like to have that legacy brand, the brand that's still around, try and find the watch that's forgotten in it that's still going for a really great price. And for me, it's actually the Omega Geneve. This is a watch that was around from the 1950s to the 1970s, and later ones were quartz, but almost all of them were mechanical, and it came in so many different options, but they're all very basic, easy to wear everyday watches, and they're absolutely beautiful, and they can range from small, teeny 20mm watches to 40mm watches, so it's kind of pick your size. You'll have to hunt for the under $500 ones, but they're certainly out there, and they go from anywhere between $500 and $2,000, but most of them are below $1,000, and many can be found for around $500. It gets you an Omega movement, the Omega name, and this beautiful looking watch there's nothing wrong with it. I have one, absolutely love it, and paid just a little bit over that $500 mark for it. And maybe if I hunted a little bit more, I could have found it for under that, but no matter what, it's a great buy. Again, it's an Omega that doesn't exist anymore, so it's not the Seamaster people are looking for, the Speedmaster, the Railmaster, whatever master else they have, or even the DeVille or Constellation. This was a watch that was around for a couple of decades and was really kind of the standard bearer of an everyday watch for them, but it's largely forgotten now. And with that means there's a lot out there that nobody's searching for, so you can find some great deals on it. And if this isn't the one for you, you can find plenty of other watches out there that are vintage and sub $500. The one thing to keep in mind is you may have to service them. So something like this Omega is pretty much serviceable by any competent watchmaker because the movement was around for so long and is so simple and reliable. But if you're looking for a basic time-only watch, most watchmakers can handle the movements from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So that's a great time period to look for a vintage watch. The Omega Geneve is just my recommendation on that. So that's 10 different watches under $500 from Switzerland, Germany, Japan, America, all around the world. You can find some great options in different design styles, while still keeping the budget very reasonable. It's a great way to get into watches at this price point, or a great way to expand your collection because you don't want to always spend thousands of dollars on a watch. What about you? What is your favorite watch under $500? What's your favorite watch in this entry-level category? Let us know in the comments, and have a good one.